When owners need money, they do several things. One, they lower their payroll. Two, they raise their revenue. Three, they go to their league, which they're a member of, whether it's MLB or NBA or NHL or NFL, and say, hey, we'd like more money from central office. We get 1/30th all of the revenue, all of the net operating income from the operating of the commissioner's office. We'd like to cut some expenses there so you make more money, so we get more money. That's Jimmy Dolan. Or as an owner, you go to the league office and say, I need a big slug of money. How about if we do expansion? Let me tell you about expansion, because there is talk of expansion in baseball. There's talk of expansion in basketball. Expansion is a way to get owners current day money at the expense of future day receipts. Let me explain. If there is a $32 million expansion fee, and I'm making up the number because it's in the billions, but I want to do this for math. If you are 30 teams going to 32, and the teams that are going to be 31 and 32 pay $30 million to expand, that's their fee. And that money gets distributed. Each team, stay with me, gets $1 million. It gets split evenly amongst all the existing teams. So the owner of a new expansion team has to write a $30 million check to the league, and that check gets split 30 ways, $1 million each. Then that new owner, in return, has expenses like payroll, like infrastructure, potentially building a new arena, upkeeping an arena. But that expansion owner will get revenue. It gets to sell tickets, not to the CBA, but to a NBA level game. It gets to collect on food, beverage, merchandise. And way more importantly, that new team, that new owner gets to share in the national revenue that comes from the media deals. So if the media deals were paying all 30 teams $100 million a year, I'm making up the number. But instead of splitting it by 30, you have to split it by 32. Do you agree that the existing teams would start making less money every year versus more money? And in return, they've gotten a bulk amount of money up front, the expansion fee. And the return for that is you get less money than you expected in later years because you're splitting the same size pie with more forks. Does that sound familiar? Is it ringing a bell to the 94% of you who have been listening prior to June? Do you remember when I talked to you about how it works with TV deals? How it works with some sponsorship deals, where you get a big amount of money up front, and what happens is you then get less than you should in later years? Remember when we talked about the Aramark deal with Vegas? We talked about the reality that if Aramark is putting money into the Vegas stadium, what it means is that the A's will get less percentage of concessions going forward. You always pay later for what you take now. That is a very simple economic principle. And the reason why this is such an issue today is that Adam Silver finally came out during the NBA Finals and said, expansion, I got to tell you, not so sure we're doing it anymore, because there was a thought that Vegas and Seattle were in like Flynn. It was done. That whether it was going to be LeBron or Shaq, there was going to be a team in Vegas, that the Seattle team was going to get its records back from Oklahoma City. They were going to get its Supersonics back, and somehow Jack Sikma would be involved. But then Adam Silver said, man, we're talking about expansion, but it's not automatic. It's got to depend upon your perspective of the future of the league. Expansion, in a way, is selling equity in the league, which it is. And if you believe in the league, you don't necessarily want to add partners. Think about that statement. If you believe that the league as it stands is able to get the media revenue, which it's getting starting next year, and that you're bullish on what the value is of your team continuing to rise in a way that is higher than the market. If you believe in all that, why would you bring on new partners? If you don't have a need to pay down debt, if you don't have a need to have more teams in order to extract more broadcast revenue from your partners, then why would you bring on a partner? The purpose of bringing on partners is to add value to the underlying asset, to add value to your company. If it's going to take value away, why would you do it? So Adam Silver basically came out and said, for all of you thinking about expansion, I'll tell you right now, the expansion fees are going to be BIGGG, to the point that you're going to have night sweats. You're going to be paying billions of dollars in expansion fees in order to get the right to join our growing, unbelievable league where teams can sell for $5-6 billion. How does that change? It changes if the existing teams look at their local TV money and they say, wait a second, this new regional sports network that's not bankrupt, God, these deals stink. We're not making close to the amount of money we thought. And then these new channels that we started, like in DC, God, those aren't making money either. We're totally screwed. We need an influx of money. Let's talk about expansion again. Because then you do the math differently. And then you need a partner. Because all of a sudden you've got payroll going up. You've got players making $70 million a year. You have an expectation based on what you think your revenue stream is going to be. And then poof, it goes away. Now in a salary cap league, if revenue goes down, so does salary. But when owners are dealing with a loss of a revenue stream, which is a media revenue stream, and they're part of the ownership of that revenue stream, they counted on that revenue stream to bolster their other businesses, whether it's on-court basketball or other, yacht or art businesses. It's quite a complicated situation where you're in a position when you're examining expansion, you say and think to yourself, either yay or nay, but we are not going to decide now. And you do it for a particular reason. You do it because it's just business.